Hi guys, Jordan here. This is my first YouTube video. I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while and I'm actually getting around to finally doing it and looking forward to get started. So a little bit of background about myself. I'm a property investor / developer. I've been in property for the last 6 years. I've built a portfolio of over 7 figures and been involved in over 25 property transactions. So one of the main reasons I decided to make this YouTube channel is to just document my journey, connect with more people in the industry, or help anyone that is also looking to get into property. Today's first video, we're going to go around to 2 flips that I've done and also another deal that I've project managed and sourced for an investor, which is now running as an Airbnb. So hopefully you can take some value from today's video. So yeah, let's get into it. So we're just on our way to the first flip deal that I'm going to show you. This property was purchased by myself and an investor, so it was a joint venture. They've put the money in and obviously I found the deal, managed the refurb. Now we've sold it pre-market, so that's obviously awesome. It's gone on for quite a while really. We bought it in July. We're targeting for 3-4 month turnaround, ended up being a little bit longer due to a few issues that have gone on there with when we've done the strip out. We've noticed a few different things and it's ended up costing us a little bit more. So luckily we had a 10% contingency in that, where we had our refurb costs, but we catered for a little bit more in case of anything unforeseen. So that was good. Didn't really affect us much with pricing, but again, it's just time. It's gone on for a little bit too long. So yeah, we're going there now. It was on the market, well, meant to go to market on last Tuesday, but we ended up selling it on the Saturday to a private buyer. That was good. So just talking about contingencies there with renovation costs. When you purchase a property that's run down, obviously if you're going to add value, you're going to have to do a renovation. So if you are using a contractor for that, a sole builder, it's good to have 10% contingency at least in your costs. So say for instance, the property renovation was £30,000. You'd want to keep £3,000 just to the side in case anything else goes wrong. So for anything unforeseen, you can tackle that with a 10% contingency then. With this joint venture, came to an agreement where the investor will fully fund the deal, so they've put all the money in. Now that we've sold it and it's gone through conveyancing, the profits we'll split 50-50. So overseas, see someone I know it. So yeah, so the investor was overseas, came through my social media and obviously had numerous Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, decided that we could work together, done everything properly with solicitors. We had shareholders agreement written up and everything was done correctly, so that was good. Yeah, we're looking to buy bigger stuff and sell bigger stuff, so that's one of my investors that's on board and done really well. Second property that we're going to today was also investor funded. Here came through a recommendation basically of someone that had worked with me before, managed to find a deal, renovate it, and now that's also been sold. We've made £20,000 each on that one, which is pretty good for how long it took us. I think the renovation was 12 weeks or 13 or 14 weeks maybe tops. We've had an offer accepted on it now. Buyers having the home buyers survey, I believe, so they'll have a surveyor go out today just to make sure everything's good, and then we'll be on to a completion date then for the second one. So everything's going quite well, but it doesn't always. So hi guys, just at the property now, first property. Still a few little bits and bobs to do here snagging wise. So yeah, just in the first living room here guys. This property was quite a big job, so we hit everything back to brick, built it back up basically. So during that, we decided to put a media wall in. We decided to do this just because when you're selling a property, it's good to always try and maximize the profits or maximize things that a buyer would want. So your end user is massive, hence why we put it in. Looks great and kind of sells itself really. So moving through into the dining area, I would call it. Nice space in here. We've got sockets in good places. We've got a socket up on the wall for TV. One of my mates is flooring. He had a good deal with the flooring, LVT Click. I think it's lovely. Well, I don't really think it's lovely myself. I think you've got to try and move with the times. Now, loads of people have been having this, and my mate kind of said, well, this is the in flooring at the moment. Everyone's having it. So I thought, well, you've got to go with the times. So yeah, add this. It's growing on me a bit, but not a massive advocate for it. Moving into the kitchen area here. Obviously, we've got a nice kitchen, new boiler, dishwasher in there, extractor, oven, etc. Got a step down here, which had to be done really because we had 3 or 4 different levels down into here, so we thought it'd be easy just to level everything out into the living room and dining area and have a couple of steps down here. Now it's not ideal, but something that we thought would work well, so, and it seemed to come off nice, so that's great. Into this area here then, we've got a little utility room, so you can have your washing machine in here and a few other bits, whatever, you know, storage wise. And then massive thing that we've done in this property is we added a downstairs toilet. Always try to add a downstairs toilet in all of my properties if I can, if it's accessible, because when a tenant or the end user has guests over, you don't really want them going upstairs to use your main bathroom. They need the toilet, so I always think adding a downstairs toilet is massive. Just outside now in the garden, in this area here, well, we had to brick up this window because the existing kitchen was initially at the back of the property, so we've moved the kitchen into the bigger space there. As you've seen, we had to brick up this wall here, put in a new window. It was too low basically, so that was good. And if you can look up the property then, you can also see that there's a new soil pipe. We added an ensuite in one of the master bedrooms, which you'll see, which was, I think, a good value add. Yeah, boiler was also put into the kitchen as there was no central heating here before. So as you can see, that's also there. So I think adding an ensuite to a master bedroom is great really, because it gives the person or people that are living in that space their own private toilet and shower space. I think it just adds value to the property in that aspect. And also it makes it more desirable. It's not something that I do with all my properties because in some places it's more difficult to do. It doesn't really affect end value too much, but when you're selling a property, I'd always try and do the most that I can just to get the most value out of the property when you sell it. The back garden here, nothing special. It was initially all grass and we had a big garage at the back. Earlier on in the video I talked about having a 10% contingency plan. So initially with the big garage I was just going to put a new door on it and have it act as parking at the back, because in this property there's no parking at the front. There's on-street parking but it's very busy. We decided to knock that down in the end, which was at a cost. That wasn't ideal, but again, because they had a 10% contingency, that seemed to fall within. Having 2 car parking spaces out there now has been great and obviously added a lot of value to the property. So just heading upstairs now, I'm going to show you what we've done to the 3 bedrooms and the new bathroom, and also the attic space. So just at the back of the property here, we have the first room, bedroom, which is a single bedroom, I would say. It is like a study, but again, adequate for whoever's going to move in here. Moving into this room then here, new bathroom. We ended up actually knocking down this full floor really, so we had to replace all the joists underneath where I'm standing now. The gutter on the outside there was full of moss and mud, etc. That built up over the years. With that, when it was raining, water was overflowing down the wall, made all of this wall soaking, so all the joists were rotten, and yes, we had to replace them all. Fell into the bracket of the contingency plan, so didn't work out too much of an issue. But yeah, that was something that you need to think of next time, is if you see gutters that are full, or try and think about joists, need to be wary of that. So just into the second bedroom here, we've got another good space. Yeah, again, everything modernised and refurbed to a good standard, I believe. And then this then is the master bedroom. So again, great space. We've got a cupboard in here for storage, wardrobe, walk-in wardrobe type thing. And then we have the ensuite, which is in here. So you've got a shower, toilet and basin. Let's just move up into the attic room now, if you follow me up here. When I initially bought the property, I'm going to look at getting a dormer in here, but with price seemed way too much for what the property would actually be worth at the end, so we didn't decide to go with it. This attic room is basically unregulated, but it's unregulated bedroom. Again, it's great attic space for whoever moves in here. It's a difficult one because it could be used as a bedroom. Property was sold as a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom property with an attic room, so yeah. Yeah, I think with this property, we were quite lucky that it already had the attic space and the stairs up. Now, it's always great to have an attic space because you've got more space to store stuff or whatever you want to use the storage space for. But if you're gonna convert a property that doesn't have an attic to have an attic room, of course it adds value, but the only difficulty you have with that is unless it's done to proper regulations and it's in your budget, because it can be quite expensive to do a loft conversion. Yeah, we were quite lucky with this one and I've used it to our advantage, I believe. Yeah, so that's the first property done. We're just driving 2 minutes away now to the next one. So the property we're going to now is actually having a survey today, buyer's survey. hopefully will all be completed within the next 3-4 weeks, I'm hoping. So yeah, when we actually turned up, the surveyor was there, so I'm going to give him an hour to do his thing. So the surveyor's at that property now because the guy that's purchasing the property, the buyer, will have spoke with his mortgage broker, so they'll then agree a fee for a 2 to 5 year fixed rate with the mortgage and the mortgage lender. So the mortgage lender will then send out a surveyor. So the surveyor will basically go to the property, check everything over, make sure everything is working well. Obviously, you'll always have a surveyor go out to a property when you're purchasing the property. If you're buying stuff at auction, then you should get a survey, but it wouldn't be a mortgage lender survey then. Right, Math? Yeah, only quickly, Math. You know, on Friday when you was at the house.
Yeah.
Did you manage to pump the system up?
Yeah, it's all pumped up.
It's all...
Turn this main stop outside.
Oh, there we are. Okay, that's fine.
See, all the pipes are full of water.
Yeah.
But obviously the main stop cocks off outside, so if there's anything did happen, it would drain what's in the pipework, so one just keep.
There we are. That's fine. Lovely.
Alright.
Alright then. Thank you. Cheers, Math.
No,
see you later.
Bye
bye. Yeah, so basically that was doing a property now. Done all the first fix, plumbing and electrics. So what we usually do before we start boarding is we'll pump the system up. We'll get water through all the pipes just to see if there's any cracks or any leaks. Once everything's fine, then we'll get on to plasterboarding. Something that we always try to do when renovating a property, just so you don't have any leaks later on when you're plasterboarding. Glad that's done. Yeah, just went for some food at Nando's. We are just on the way back to the property now. Hopefully the surveyor's gone and we can show you around there. So just had the second property here now, guys. Gonna again take you through a walkthrough and just show you what we've done. Into this first living room space by here, this will be the main living room. Electric point there for a TV on the wall, radiator on the outside wall, new carpets and everything else throughout. So this was a second reception room. It was going to be a bedroom, so the plan was for us to keep this property and run it as service accommodation, but then when it came to actually being renovated, we decided that we were going to sell it, so ended up going to market, managed to get a sale. So surveyor's been today, hopefully everything will be fine and we can proceed with everything else. So moving into the kitchen here. So kitchen, we moved into this area. It was initially at the back of the property, so we brought it in here, obviously made it better size and added a breakfast bar just because there was no other dining room, so we added a breakfast bar in there, which is nice. Replaced this window, so the window there was too low, so we had to again brick up like the other property, brick it up and put a new window in there. Used to be a door on this, so door's now gone straight through. Added a downstairs bathroom in here because the upstairs has only got a shower, toilet and basin, so we feel like even if we were going to keep it as a service accommodation unit or single let, that you should have a main bathroom with a bath and shower head. Yeah, you've got space here for a washing machine or washer dryer, and then you've got the main bathroom in here. Yeah, so obviously we've got tiles on the back wall and around the bath, just come out to here, and then we've got new boiler in there. This has also been changed, so this window here used to go right across the back of the property, so now bricked up the outside and brought it to a smaller frosted window in here. Yeah, so that's great. Moving on upstairs, this is obviously the smallest bedroom in the property. Back bedroom again, probably like a study. Then we've got this shower room in here, upstairs shower room, so 2 bed, 2 bathroom, upstairs and downstairs again. As I mentioned before, it's good to have downstairs and upstairs toilets if possible. Newly renovated in here, tiles, vanity and toilet in. We've got new radiators and everything throughout too. This property wasn't completely back to brick, it was just skimmed and painted, so saved a bit on cost there. The reason we done this is because most of the walls were fine, there was no ingress of damp or anything like that, so yeah, we decided just to skim and paint. So if we move into the second bedroom here, again a nice space for the buyer. This is the master bedroom again, nice space, lots of potential. Obviously breakdown of the deal that we had bought it for, so we had bought it for 130,000, we'd spent about 4 46,000 on it, and now we've just sold it for 230,000, so nice profit there. Yeah, looking forward now to getting the money in and moving on to the next one. So obviously with this property, it was purchased for 130,000, we spent 46,000 on the refurb, and we've just sold it for 230,000. So with fees then we had to pay £65,000 in stamp duty. We paid £2,400 to the estate agent for our buyer's premium, so it was an auction fee. And then we also had to pay for a solicitor, so our solicitor that acted on our behalf was paid £2,000. So yeah, that results in obviously the profit that we made. That was the second property we've just been to now, guys. It was initially going to be an Airbnb, as mentioned. Our management company was going to run it, but then decided to sell it as we had a good offer. So not all of the properties that I buy, I sell. Also, I'm wanting to, well, have a portfolio and wanted to grow my portfolio for the rental side of things. About a year and a bit ago, we opened our management company, which is an Airbnb based company. We've been managing Airbnbs for landlords, and that's been going very well. Obviously this time of year is quite difficult with the market, but we've been catering for longer term stays, so I think we're sitting there around a 70 to 72% occupancy rate at the moment. So it's pretty good. Just on the way now to a deal that I sourced, project managed, and now we're going to run as a service accommodation. So yeah, we'll see you in there. So just at the third property now, guys, we're going to take you around this property. It's going to be a 4-bedroom, 8-guest Airbnb. Obviously this property was sourced by myself for an investor, project managed the refurb, and obviously back end now is going to be an Airbnb, so we're going to manage the Airbnb side as well. So it's a fully hands-off experience for the investor. So yeah, let's take you around. So first downstairs living room, but it's going to be, you can sleep 2 guests, nice little space, lovely views as well if you get a chance to see. This living room now is not finished yet, still got a few bits to do with paintings and a few bits for the TV, etc. Ready for photos that are happening next week. Kitchen area now, which is nice and smart. Obviously it's furnished with a microwave, kettle, toaster, washer dryer and a fridge freezer. Everything that you need for when you come to stay. We've got cutlery and everything like that too, plates, bowls, glasses, so when guests come they don't have to go and do anything or buy anything, everything's here ready for them. Bathroom downstairs then, we got a 4-piece bathroom, so you've got a sink, bath, toilet and shower separate. So yeah, again we've gone for different in this one. We've gone for the Respatex just because it's just a little bit cleaner for this property and something different. So we've used it before and it's lasted a long time and lasts well, so that's why we hence to put in this bathroom. Just into the third bedroom now. This one is a nice one, all furnished, ready to go. Just need some photos to be done. We've got a boiler in here. This property actually has planning for 4-bedroom HMO, so we had to go through planning application, etc. with the council. And with there being a boiler in the bedroom, we had to have, so obviously all the doors are fire doors, but we also had to have a smash glass just outside. So yeah, moving on to bedroom 3. Yeah, again, so similar thing, sleep 2 guests. In all the rooms we've got zip beds, so the beds can either be used as a double or singles. So this helps when you've got guests coming to stay who want to stay in separate beds, or you have contractors who want to come and stay in separate beds. But then obviously works well for a family or couple who want to stay in the same bed. And so this is the 4th and final bedroom. We've got everything in again, 2 single beds that again can be doubles. So yeah, this is the Airbnb, and we're hoping for photos to be done next week and then be live by the weekend, hopefully ready to take some bookings. If you're going to build a portfolio, I think it's good to have a bit of both because it holds a bit of stability. I mean, Airbnbs can be awesome. You can get real high cash flow, but then they can be quite hands-on unless you've got good systems in place with cleaners, getting bookings, obviously your listings and everything like that too. Can be a little bit difficult, but as long as you have all that locked off, it'd be great to build a portfolio of Airbnbs. On the other side then you have single let, which I've got a lot of single lets, and they pay you less, but with the families in them it's more stable and you know what you're going to get every month. Yeah, so I guess there's pros and cons to both. I mean, with the Airbnbs it's a little bit more hands-on. You have to have good systems in place to get things moving and get things up and running, but once you can get bookings coming in then obviously the cash flow can be a lot better than what a single let can. But with a single let, obviously you know what you're getting every month and it's a little bit more stable, whereas the cash flow on a buy to let would be a little bit less. Again, if you're buying properties to hold them for a long period of time, you're always going to win and you're going to gain in equity. So both strategies are good, but Airbnb is a little bit more cash flow wise, a little bit better. With that property, investors bought it, renovated it, and now is going to be refinancing it. So they'll be refinancing it at a valuation of 180,000. They'll get a 75% loan of 180,000 because that's what a buy to let mortgage is. So they will leave 25% in, get a loan of 75%, which is 135,000. I think they'll leave about 10 grand in the deal, so it's an epic deal. Yeah, so whilst we were just in the property then, we had 2 inquiries actually come through about the property, so I'm not lying about that either. I think you hadn't seen it, but 2 inquiries came in for longer term stays, so through open rent, hoping to get viewing in with one of them later. They're going to take the property off us for 6 months, so that'll be epic. So yeah, just on the Airbnb side, we've done really well in certain areas. We've had some areas that are not performing as well as we'd like. I think it's crucial to know that when you are trying to do or run your property as Airbnb, you kind of know, you do a lot of background searches on the area and see if it is actually worth doing it. Because again, some places are more desirable than others. It all depends on how you market it when it comes to people that want to stay. Do you want to have short-term stays? Obviously, if you're having shorter-term stays, you're trying to charge a little bit more. But with that, then you've got to cater in for cleaning fees and stuff like that. So with the longer-term stays, it's a little bit less profit maybe, but you're only having 1 to 2 cleans a month. Whereas if you were on short nightly rates, short-term, 2-3 nights, you're having turnarounds of cleaning quite often then. So that's why, especially in this time of the year, we always try to get longer term stays in our properties.
Hello.
Oh, hi Gemma, how are you?
Hello, good, thanks. How are you?
Yes, good, thanks. So obviously you're staying in the Airbnb now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I missed your message, but it said something like you need to book for another week, is that right?
Yes, please,
Yeah.
if possible.
Yeah, okay. And what's the date of that then?
I think it's booked until the 3rd.
Oh, there we are. Okay, that's fine. That's great. All right, then what I'll do, I'll just send you, if you could just book it later on or tonight, I'll just confirm it all with you then.
Lovely, that's great. Thanks so much.
All right, no problem. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye.
Bye. Yeah, so that was just a call from one of the guests who's staying in my property. I think she's been there now for like 2 months. So she was in another property, but she moved into one of our other ones because her child was in school in the same area as that. So she was with us previously, but she moved from one to another because it's more convenient for her to stay at that property instead. So yeah, another week booking from March, so that's good news. The reason why this lady is staying at one of our properties is because she had an issue at her own property where she had a flood. So during bad weather a few months ago, 6-7 months ago, she had terrible weather, terrible flood. So the insurance company are now paying for her to stay in the Airbnb instead of her going into long-term rental. She needed somewhere fast to move her stuff basically from house straight into another house. So Airbnb is where you get most of these insurance claims or jobs come through. So insurance companies look on Airbnb and Open Rent to book places for guests where they are clients where things have gone wrong. So that's what's happened with that property. Hello.
George, it's Alex. There's the gas engineer.
Hi Alex, how are you?
How are you, mate? Right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I've been on Queen's Road for a while now. I don't know how I was working, mate, to be honest with you.
No?
So the reset button and spanner light were flashing when I got here.
Yeah.
It's working fine. I don't know how it's working because it's still flashing now. It's normally a PCB fault when it doesn't work, but it's working fine.
Yeah, it's a weird one because obviously we've been charged £500 for gas for the last 2 months.
Right.
So
I've linked the thermostat now. That's working now.
Yeah, so that's working now. So obviously they'll be able to turn that down now, the guests that are there, obviously, won't they?
Yeah, well, they could have turned it down in the boiler anyway, regardless.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're not going to do it, see. They don't really care. So I think what they were doing is they were probably leaving it firing like it is and just turning it down, open the windows when they please, like.
Well, the windows are open, yeah.
You know,
it's like that now.
You know what I mean? So instead of actually being energy sufficient, they're just opening the windows if they're cold.
What is it, Airbnb, is it?
It's an Airbnb, yeah. So obviously we're renting it from the landlord, So it's kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know whose problem is it. Is it the landlord's problem or is it our problem? Okay.
Maybe worse house.
Yeah, we'll have a little think now. If we can just change the thermostat, then we'll maybe go from
Right,
there
yeah.
then. Yeah, please.
No worries. Okay,
Alright.
mate.
Lovely. Thank you.
Ciao.
Cheers, Alex. Bye bye. Yeah, so that was just a call from a plumber who's working with an estate agent that we are managing it for a client, managing a property for a client. We've got long-term guests in there. They're working 12 hours a day basically, and they're just leaving the heating on. Last month, investor got hit with a bill of £500. We've tried to speak to the head office of whose employees are actually in the property, trying to get some sort of compensation, but if not, we're probably just going to try and match, so pay £500 from us to her, and obviously try and get it sorted early doors. So it's not ideal. Got to try and get it sorted ASAP. That's right, guys, that kind of sums up most of the stuff I've been doing today and what happens really in my life. So there's a few other things that are going on with different properties that I'd like to take you to, but there's work being done on them, so I'm going to leave them for another video. But it was nice to go to a couple of the properties today that have been finished and ready to go, so either for sale or to be let on Airbnb. Hope you enjoyed watching and hope you've taken some value from today or learned something maybe. Look forward to the next one.